Well, would you look at that? It looks like we got some wonderful news coming from the comic book industry. A new event is on the horizon called Heroes Reborn. I'm sure there's no way this is going to be a mess, right? And to get us excited, we have a sneak peek at one of the books. It's going to feature some of our favorite superheroes rebranded with new suits and apparently new powers. For example, Sam Alexander, who used to be Nova, will now be known as Kid Spectrum.
No.
And Miles Morales just can't catch a break. From discount Spider-Man to discount Falcon. No, I'm not kidding, by the way. This is official. They're making Miles Morales into the new Falcon. But wait, it gets better. Everybody's number one favorite superhero, the bestest ever, Kamala Khan, gets rebranded from Ms. Marvel into Girl Power. I can't deal with this. Really, they called her Girl Power. No, I'd say this is just a tad too much and too obvious, but knowing who this is coming from, it makes absolute sense. After all, don't forget that these are the people who took the original Ms. Marvel, who looked like this, and was, ironically enough, an actual beautiful, strong, powerful woman, and turned her into this. And they gave the title to Kamala Khan. And by the way, if you criticize any of this, the people who claim to be fans of these comic books will tell you that you're afraid of strong women in comics. Which only shows that they either don't know anything about comic books, or they're lying. Because comic books have always had strong women in them. For example, Elektra, the Invisible Woman, the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four, by the way, Storm, Mockingbird, Black Cat, She-Hulk, Valkyrie, the real one, not Miss I have two facial expressions, bland and smug, and many others. So you see, comic book fans have never actually had a problem with strong women in comics. And the reason Kamala never became a fan favorite character has nothing to do with her being a girl. It has nothing to do with her skin color, her sexual orientation, or her religion either. The problem is that she was never made to be an interesting character. She was always envisioned as a checklist. Combine that with bland storytelling, and the behavior of some of the so-called comic book pros towards long-term fans, and fans in general, and people just started following the advice of Kelly Sue DeConnick.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
But despite the lack of interest, Marvel has decided to push Kamala Khan at any cost, regardless of how many times her books fail. In fact, they believe in her so much that they decided to make her the face of the recently received Avengers game. A game that fell flat on its face and failed horribly because of a lot of issues, one of which was pushing a character at the forefront that nobody asked for. I mean, what do you want to do in an Avengers game? Be the literal god of thunder and throw around the mighty Mjolnir? Smash everything in your path as the Hulk? Be the super soldier Captain America? Play as Iron Man in one of his many, many suits? Be the super spy known as the Black Widow? Or do you want to play as the girl with the Stretch Armstrong powers? But I digress. With the comic book industry on its knees, what did comic book pros do? Did they sit down and think about what made comics great? What kept fans coming back again and again and again? What made these characters so compelling and what made them beloved enough to last decades? Some of them have been around for about 80 years, let that sink in. That's a long time. Did they think about what they can do to bring comic books back to their glory days? Did they sit down and think about what they've been doing wrong? That maybe personal politics have no place in this medium? Did they learn from their past mistakes? Did they finally realize that comic book fans want one thing? Good books, featuring interesting stories and developed characters. No, they didn't. Instead, we get another pointless reboot. And even if the name Power Girl wasn't already taken by a vastly superior character, I'm pretty sure they would have still called her Girl Power. Because that's just the kind of creators they are. And I can't wait to hear the same old list of excuses of why this book didn't sell. Because, much like their storytelling, they are utterly unoriginal. On a side note, I find it totally believable that Kamala Khan would go one-on-one with the Super Skrull when the entire Fantastic Four couldn't. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I'll see you around. Heroes Reborn. Give me a break.